Happy March 15th, buddy. How you doing today?
A little tired. Should we call this going forward Alan Lazard Day?
A little tired, a little wired. There's a movie quote. I don't remember what it is, the rest of it, but it's a little tired and a little wired.
And
Anyway,
almost ready to retire?
well, the funny thing is we're flipped on the graphic, so we gotta go back. There we go. So Seth Kamen's over there, Sean Palmer over here, Seth and Sean Sports on StreamYard. And should we call it Alan Lazard Day? Should we call it Darren Waller Day? Should we call it
Darren Waller Day would be yesterday.
Aaron Rodgers Day? I mean, Aaron Rodgers doesn't think it's a day. He thinks he made this decision a long time ago, and he finally notified everybody of his decision. But
I thought that was after 5 days in the hole.
Whatever that was, right? And we can call it Alan Lazard Day. Look, we're going to talk a lot about NFL free agency. We're going to excuse the interruption of the dog. I am here in Hartford at my brother's place. A lot about NFL free agency, a little bit about the NBA and how Kevin Durant just can't stay healthy. It does not matter what team that man is on. And Net fans are glorious and very happy about this. And
we're happier to see Dallas like 1-6 since Kyrie came over than we are with Durant. Durant didn't screw over the franchise.
No, but you're getting picks based on, those picks are in 2025. So what do you care? Kyrie's actually is this year. So you'll get that pick. Okay. So first and foremost, we're not going to talk about Rodgers. Not first. Well, first we should talk about, first of all, Daniel Jones getting his contract, we know. Saquon Barkley getting the franchise tag, we know. And now we have, I got to tell you, my feelings towards Darren Waller. Real big fan when he's healthy. I really like what they did. They got him for 3 more years. That's a new contract waiting to happen. Maybe not this year, but next year.
Well, and if it goes to hell in a handbasket, they have an out after a year.
That's correct. There is no guaranteed money.
You traded Kadarius Toney for Darren Waller.
Yes.
Done.
Yes.
No brainer.
Well, you traded. Oh, hold on a second. You traded Kadarius Toney and the opportunity cost of a 3rd-round pick, right? Right. I'm just saying you traded a 3rd-round pick for Darren Waller
that you got for Kadarius Toney.
Correct. But I'm saying it's the opportunity. If you wanted to supplant it, I love the trade. I'm
ecstatic.
Right. I mean,
I don't know how, as a Giant fan, you can't be.
And now when you look at that draft, I see one spot. They re-signed Sterling Shepard. You see 2 spots. No. I'm saying hold on, let me finish. They re-signed Sterling Shepard, but I still think it's wide out in the first round. You need linebackers, but you don't pick linebackers in the first round.
Agreed.
So
I think
corner, maybe late.
Those are your 2. I think also you could go with an offensive guard, with an interior lineman on the offensive side. Although I'm not jonesing for one as badly as I'm jonesing for a receiver. I think you go receiver or corner, whichever is the best out there, and whatever is not the best out there is what you take in the 2nd round, hopefully. Look, when we do our predictions, we can't predict based on scheme. We predict best on best player available in need.
Sure.
The Giants, Adoree Jackson is a maybe a number 1 corner, but he's going into a contract year. He's injured half the time. I barely know who their number 2 is. I think it's Aaron Robinson, who's exactly.
And he's no James Bradbury, who got a nice contract that.
Good for James Bradbury.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I'm saying he's neither one. Look, Adoree Jackson is not a number 1 corner, despite getting rid of James Bradbury and signing Adoree Jackson. In retrospect, you'd think you would have gone the other way.
Yeah.
Right.
It would have been, yeah. Well, unfortunately, we were kind of in a heck of a position on that. Thank you, Dave. But yeah, our wideouts, our number 1 wideout is Isaiah Hodgkins. Forgetting Waller for a second. So we have Wan'Dale Robinson coming off a torn ACL. We have Sterling Shepard coming off a torn ACL. Kenny Galladay's been cut.
Darius Slayton's a free agent.
Darius Slayton's a free agent. So, with one of our first two, I don't think we're trading for DeAndre Hopkins. So, with one of our first two picks, we have to go wide out.
Would you trade for DeAndre Hopkins?
It's like anything else in life. Depends what
Right.
they want.
Well, I'm saying you're probably giving up a second-round pick.
Probably not.
Fourth-round pick.
Yeah, I would trade him for a fourth.
I mean, you don't have a third anymore, so
yes, we do.
Oh, yeah, you have your own third.
You have your own third.
So how about your own third?
If he could, depending on how the salary fits.
Well, he's gonna want a new contract. That's what he has been saying. He's gonna want a new contract.
And the question is, they have to re-sign Andrew Thomas. They have to re-sign Dexter Lawrence. These are two premier position players at their position.
Yes.
Who are much, much younger than DeAndre Hopkins.
Sure.
So my gut is they don't make the deal.
Yeah.
Because how many people can you give these kind of contracts to?
Well, ask the Rams. They could do it for about 2 years, and then they had to jettison everybody.
Yeah, but they won a Super Bowl.
They did, and that's exactly what you're playing for, right? And if you move, so some of the interesting, I look at all these signings not necessarily based on how they fit with the team, but how they fit in fantasy, and how they may change the way that your fantasy team looks. When you look at New Orleans and you say, okay, they got Michael Thomas, that kind of stinks for us and Chris Olave, but okay. But then they go out and sign Jamal Williams, and I'm like,
they got Jamal Williams today.
They got Jamal Williams today. So now
I've been in deadline day. I haven't.
So they have Jamal Williams and Alvin Kamara, and I understand that they're probably hedging against Kamara's suspension, which is likely for next year, at least 6 games. And I can see how that could be harkened back to the Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara days, right? And he's the perfect guy, 17 touchdowns last year. But I look at the effect that may have on fantasy and where Kamara goes in the fantasy draft, losing 6 games, and where Jamal Williams goes, right? Because after leading the league with 17 touchdowns, now you're going back to what? Red zone, end zone back? Like that's all you're going to be because you got Alvin Kamara there, right? And then the other premier end zone back gets cut today. And that was kind of what we thought in Ezekiel Elliott. And I have no clue where this guy goes. He reminds me very much of an Odell Beckham in that I believe I am worth more than I am worth. And what other teams are going to take the risk of that? The only team that comes to mind would be the Chargers, because after I saw that they were but Austin Eckler had asked for a trade, I'm kind of going, well, there may be a spot there with a whole lot of touchdowns.
But he doesn't feel like the right fit for San Diego.
He doesn't feel like what? Where does he feel like a fit? I mean, Arizona?
Replacing James Conner?
Yeah. I mean, the Raiders?
They have Jacobs. They don't need
and he's not. Well, the question is, does he consider himself a third down back at this point?
Is this going to be a Russell Westbrook where he overestimates his value?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. But I think, as a third down back, he does catch the ball.
Mm-hmm.
He does block. The one thing Ezekiel has always been great at is blocking. And that's why he's kept there. And I'm thinking down all the teams, look, if I had to be honest, the Jets are a great spot for him. And with Breece Hall out. And there's nobody. And if you're not counting on Hall for the first 6 games of the year, he's a good mixed up with Michael Carter. I mean, do I want Vince Young's Philadelphia Eagles here? No, I absolutely do not. I do not.
What?
Okay, remember when Vince Young signed with the Eagles and said, we have the best team in football. We have all the you don't remember this?
I don't.
Okay, I'm going to get the quote. He called them the dream team.
This vaguely rings a bell.
Okay, so he called the Eagles the dream team. The dream team that wasn't. That's a Bleacher Report. So they had Michael Vick, they had Vince Young, they had Ndami Asuma, Dominique Rogers-Camardi, Jason Babin. I mean, it wasn't obviously did not turn out to be a dream team at all. But that's what he called them because it was all these veterans that were signing with this team that were supposedly making this a dream team. And if I'm right now, you look at what the Jets are doing, and first of all, I didn't want Rodgers to begin with. I certainly don't want him at the price of a first-round pick, which it looks like it might actually be, because what are you going to do if you're the Jets at this point when Rodgers has said the only place I'm going is the Jets? I mean,
then you signed Lazard already,
right? You signed Lazard.
Has the minimus value otherwise.
Lazard.
He's an average wide receiver who can block.
Correct, and he's 6'4", and he's replacing Corey Davis, who is an average wide receiver that can block at 6'4". I mean, whatever at that point. But you're entertaining Randall Cobb, you're entertaining Mercedes Lewis. I mean, I'm just like, come on, guys. Like,
I don't want to Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah, I don't want to bring the band back together again.
The band's not coming back together.
Well, if those four guys do, look, if you want to give me David Bakhtiari, I want him. Like, I want the offensive tackle. I want the center. But I don't want these guys that are I understand they're Rodgers guys, but man, what if he doesn't show up for training camp? What if he doesn't show up for mini camp? What if he just doesn't show up on Tuesdays for practice? What are you gonna do? Find the guy? You're basically. Thank you, Finnegan. You're basically, as Jim Carrey said in Liar Liar, bending over and taking it up the tailpipe with Aaron Rodgers. And the Jets were held hostage like this once before, and it didn't work out too well. And is this where all Green Bay Packer quarterbacks go to die?
Is Bart Starr walking in through that door?
Well, the best part is
he's dead already. So
is he taking Joe Namath's number? Joe Namath has already said he can have it.
Look, you get the feel. Who knows? Nobody has a clue whether he'll be motivated. You'd like to think he would be after being pushed out by a team of where he won 14, where he won four
for
MVPs,
Jordan Love.
MVPs. For Jordan Love. But it will be interesting. I'm similar to you. I'm not convinced it'll work.
Oh, get your popcorn ready. I mean, it is. I mean, this is what it is. This is the Jets trying to make a splash. It always has been, right? The ceiling on this team is that of a contender.
The ceiling is the floor?
No, the ceiling is that of a contender. And I mean a contender for the Super Bowl, Seth. I do believe with him, they are a contender.
You just said, wait. You don't want to make the deal
for
a first round pick.
No, I don't want to make the ceiling is the Super Bowl. The ceiling. The floor is out of the playoffs. So this is a boom bust, similar to Brett Favre.
So, but you don't want to take the chance because you have what is your other quarterback option?
I know. That's my biggest problem. Is one of my other quarterbacks.
Garoppolo's gone.
It's Teddy Bridgewater.
Gone, again. Mayfield's gone.
No, it's Teddy Bridgewater again.
Right.
We had him for a week in training camp before we traded him.
So you have a GM on the hot seat to a degree.
Look, I get
a coach on the hot seat to a degree. You have a chance for a 4-time MVP. You think they're looking to the future?
No, I get the reasoning behind it. It doesn't mean I have to like it.
Fair.
I don't like it. Like, you understood Daniel Jones. You didn't like the money.
No.
You understood it. I understand the risk.
I mean, it's for all intents and purposes, what, a 2-year, $80 million deal?
I will tell you the best thing. Well, they won't pay him $82 million. They will pay him. Well, if the trade goes through, they're actually only responsible for 14 million of the.
No, I was talking about the Daniel Jones deal.
Oh yeah, it's a 2 years and 90 million guaranteed.
If he hits certain criteria.
No. If he hits certain criteria, it's even more than that. He's got 10 million in the third year.
Okay.
But the fact, no, I'm talking about the Rodgers deal. It's a 2-year deal in all likelihood, right? 2 years. The best thing that Aaron Rodgers could do for my Jets is make Zach Wilson a real QB. If he can do that, then I'm fine with whatever has to happen, because that means when he leaves, when he's 42 years old, and understand he's 40 years old, when he's 42, there is some succession plan. Because if he can't make Zach Wilson a quarterback, and Zach Wilson is the heir apparent on a rookie contract right now, he can't make him into a better quarterback, whether he looks at him that way or not, then we've not only given up 2 years, but then we've given up the future too.
No, that means you're starting from quarterback scratch all over again.
And we're not having a top pick in the draft, because if Aaron Rodgers gets us to the playoffs, okay, great. It's not playoffs aren't enough. I understand that for dying Jets fans who have not had a playoff team in 10 years, it might be enough. But if you're doing all this, if you're bending over backwards for a guy, I want the ceiling. I don't want the playoffs. I want a contender stat. I want to go into an AFC championship game, which I think can happen with him. A good Aaron Rodgers, not last year's Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, we'll see. Do I still think they're better than Cincy, Buffalo, or Kansas City? No.
I think they might be better than Buffalo. I don't think, first of all, Buffalo's running game, we saw what Buffalo's running game is, and it isn't there. And the Jets have a better defense.
I think that's the obvious spot for Eckler.
Oh, wow. He goes there. I'm not sure they have enough cap space for that, but wow. If he that's a pull. I like that. I like it.
Well, look, they wanted Saquon and even the similar all-round back kind of player.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to want as much as Saquon.
Oh, I think he will.
Not sure he will. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's going to want more than the $6 million a year he's making right now. Well, I'm not sure he's going to want 14 or 15 million.
I mean, understand in the signings today, David Montgomery, one of our favorites, who really is not one of our favorites, got
3 and 18.
3 for 18 with 11 guaranteed. That's already Austin Eckler money right there, right?
Yeah.
And Jamal Williams got more than that. I don't remember what he got, but he got more than that. I mean, I get what you're saying, though. It is the perfect place for him. It absolutely is. If he's looking for
especially because look, Gabriel Davis and Isaiah McKenzie were not the players. They had moments.
Yep.
But they were not fantastic. I don't think they were great last year for him.
Well, they're wide receivers too.
Yeah, but I'm saying that you're going to have the opportunity to catch out of the backfield.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And you have James Cook, who can help on that end as well. I think it's the most logical place, just like I thought it was the most logical place for Barkley if he was going to leave.
We didn't talk about this, and I know we should, is we weren't on for the trade, for the big trade, for the number 1 pick trade. We didn't talk about Chicago. Did we talk? Oh, we did talk about that last week, right? Did we talk about Chicago?
I don't remember.
No,
I don't think we did. Maybe it may have happened the night we did the show.
But the next day.
So Chicago traded the pick.
It was the next day. So what do you think about? No, it was the next day. We definitely did not talk about it. Ryan Poles for GM of the year already. I mean, to me, when you want to make a trade, that's a trade you make. that you don't. We did not talk about it because we were talking about doubling down on the first pick. where you make a trade and then another trade down. And
Well, they don't have to do that anymore.
No. But if I'm Carolina, I might look to trade it. But
Yeah.
I don't think they will. I don't think you go up with that and then come back
Well,
down.
I don't think you go any lower than 3. I mean, I'm assuming the 4 quarterbacks, I assume they're not going Richardson. Just my gut, because they don't. If they picked up a backup quarterback yet that season, they're trading Matt Corral. I don't know who.
Wait,
what
they're
other
trading
quarterback-
Matt Corral?
Yeah, he's on the trading block, which makes sense.
I don't think he's going to trade. But okay.
Darnold is gone,
Arnold signed with San Francisco.
so you need the sign of if you're going to sign.
Oh, Kyle Allen, I think, went there today.
So is Kyle Allen going to start for a season for Frank Reich?
Hold on. I think it was Kyle Allen. No, Bills signed Kyle Allen. Sorry. No, I don't think they have a quarterback other than Carroll on the roster because Jacoby Brissett signed with the Commanders today.
Yep.
Which is a great deal for them.
Yeah, because it is a reasonable bridge if Sam Howell's not the right guy. So if you're Carolina, if you're taking Anthony Richardson is not ready to be a starter. That is the consensus of everybody.
Right. That's why I thought it would be Brissett going there. Like I thought that would be the perfect spot for him.
He's not going to Bridgewater is not going there.
He could.
Wasn't Bridgewater there already?
Bridgewater was on every team already.
Yeah, I mean, I get lost on this.
Teddy Bridgewater, I believe, has been on the Dolphins, the Panthers, the Jets, the Saints,
the Vikings, the Broncos.
I think 5 teams. Oh, the Vikings. 6.
I said in the Broncos.
Yeah, 6 teams.
So
he's been on 20% of the NFL already.
So what veteran? You're not going to bring in Carson Wentz. You're not going to bring in. I mean, certainly not to a Frank Reich team. You're not going to bring in Matt Ryan. Certainly not to a Frank Reich team. So if you're Carolina, how do you bring in Richardson when there's not even a bridge quarterback to take at this point?
Yeah, and they didn't place a tender on PJ Walker today. And Tyler Huntley was given actually the right of first refusal by the Ravens. So there's no way they're going after Lamar Jackson. So I mean, by the way, Jacoby Brissett may put an end to the Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, I think so.
Which stinks because I was hoping that would be a happening.
I don't think. I mean, look, teams had the right to make an offer for Jackson. Didn't happen.
Oh, it could still happen.
Yes, but it hasn't happened as of now.
Right. Well, part of it is he's his own agent, which is not helpful. But no, there are no. I don't know any unsigned quarterbacks that are left. I mean, it's Teddy Bridgewater. Heineke went to the Falcons. Brissett, maybe Gardner Minshew. That's it. Oh, Teddy Bridgewater. Oh, and Teddy Bridgewater. Those would be the 2 guys. Gardner Minshew and Teddy Bridgewater. So
yeah, I don't see it.
Well, Minshew could be a
Minshew is not a mentor type quarterback.
True.
Minshew thinks he should be a starter in the league.
Right.
Which is perfectly fine. He has the right to believe that.
Yep.
So he's not going to a place where he's going to, unless there's no other option, where he's going to be the backup.
But Bridgewater is a guy like that.
Yes, Bridgewater is.
And he's liked in Carolina.
He is.
So maybe that's the spot. And again, that's presuming that they pick Anthony Richardson. And we have a long way to go on that. And you know my feelings is CJ Stroud is the best QB in the draft. And I've said this for a while. But there's so much time between now and the end of the end of April.
The end of tax season.
To go through it, right? And look, we saw a workout by Jalen Carter today, which he was 30 pounds overweight.
No, I don't think it was 30. I think he was 30.
Yeah. They said he was 30 pounds overweight.
He's had a tough
couple of weeks.
Yeah.
No doubt. But Well, let's talk about some of these signings. So Fletcher Cox goes back to the Eagles. Okay. I mean, that's expected. And actually, I like seeing that because he will probably stay on the same team, right? For the
The rest of
duration
his
of his
career.
the duration of his career. The Cowboys restructured a couple of contracts. But they got Stephon Gilmore today, which I really like as a deal for a
Yes.
fifth round pick.
That makes no sense to me.
For who?
Oh. For Indy.
So Indy probably rebuilding, right?
True.
Okay. Probably wants some draft capital. Stephon Gilmore was, I believe, earning $6.9 million, maybe a little more than that. Probably going to, in the last year of the contract, probably going to want an extension of some sort. And Indy's not going to give it to him. And there's no reason to because Indy's not winning this year. So why?
Agreed. I thought they could have gotten more than a fifth.
From where?
Anybody.
Okay. I'm not sure they could have gotten more. So that's where we go with that.
Well, I guess if they could have, then
they would have.
They probably
right?
would have taken it.
So the Dolphins get their two-headed monster back in Mostert and Wilson, and re-sign Myles Gaskin, so the three-headed monster. Look, Mostert did very well when he's healthy. Mostert is always good.
When has he been healthy again? Just remind me.
Well, that's the problem, right? And Jeff Wilson played very well last year. And in between, Jalen Ramsey gets traded remember, Jalen Ramsey got traded for a third-round pick and a tight end that didn't matter. So if that's the market, if Jalen Ramsey is a third-round pick, is Gilmore really that equal to
what's Jalen Ramsey's contract?
Oh, much bigger. True.
That's why Jalen Ramsey was traded for a third-round pick.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, Orlando Brown has not been signed yet.
Not going back to Kansas City.
Nope, because
they signed Jamal Thomas. They just signed the
Juwan Thomas, right?
Juwan Thomas
to a 4-year, $80 million deal. Tackles are getting paid, as they always do, which is why signing Andrew Thomas right now would be in the Giants' best interest for an extension. Calais Campbell gets released. That's a guy that I think you should be looking at for the Giants.
Agreed. I agree.
With Wink Martindale as your defensive coach, he would be very well suited for that defense.
He'd be a nice pickup, and he'd be a good mentor for Thibodeau and for Ojari. I agree.
And Calais Campbell is a monster. I mean, he's seriously 6. I think he's the tallest guy in the NFL, at least on the defensive end, 6'7", and he just puts his hands up, and that's the end of that. Okay. What else we got? So, Jacoby Brissett to the contenders. To the Commanders, they are definitely not the contenders. We talked about Huntley, Zeke, Sheldon Rankins goes from the Jets to the Texans. Well, Jets defensive players are getting paid, if nothing else. He gets, I believe, a 3-year deal. Juju Smith-Schuster, Kansas City to New England to replace Jacoby Myers. What out of this don't you like, and for who?
I want to know what Kansas City offered. I've got to imagine if Kansas City offered anywhere in the ballpark that he would have stayed. Because to be a number one in New England right now is not a healthy place.
And maybe he's not even the number one with Devontae Parker there.
Devontae Parker's been healthy. He's like the king.
No. I guess my point is that yes, he's a number one, but is there really a number one? They're all about the same, right?
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to get at. And Juju got 3 years.
3 years, $33 million.
33, which is the exact same thing that Jacoby Myers got to go to Vegas, which is exactly what Darren Waller gets to go to the Giants. And all the Giants did was cut Kenny Galladay. that makes the circle complete, right?
Circle of life.
Circle of life. I'd like Jacoby Myers going to the Raiders. Look, 3 years and 33 is not a
No,
lot of money.
that's not my problem with it. The question is that really where they needed to spend money? They have a horrendous defense other than Max Crosby. They have a new quarterback. We're comfortable. They have a running back. Their offensive line is okay. They have Devontae. They have Hunter Renfrow. They have Mac Hollins. I'm not sure if receiver was really just where they needed to be spending.
Yep. No, I agree. I think when it comes down to it, they needed to replace the production of Waller somehow. So they're going to.
What production has Waller had the last 2 years?
Well, there's no Forrest Moreau. He's a free agent too. So they're probably going to play
Fabian Moreau. It's
Fabian Moreau. Excuse me, Fabian Moreau. They're going to be playing a 3 wideout set at least, maybe 4 with no tight end. They may not play with 1 tight end, not 2, and they're going to need 3 wideouts. Renfro's your slot guy, right? And I understand that Devontae is Devontae, but you still need a second guy there. They didn't have
Hollins. I thought Hollins did a decent job for them.
Hollins, I believe, is a free agent too.
That could be. I don't claim to be the world's biggest expert on Mac Hollins.
Okay. By the way, so now we get to the Saints. The Saints sign. This is low for me. Jamal Williams, 3 years, $12 million with 8 guaranteed. That is that's low.
I think that's a good deal.
Yeah,
Right.
I agree. That's what I'm saying.
I didn't think. I mean, it was pretty much the same as what. I didn't think it was going to be higher than Montgomery.
Well, he got volume last year, right? Because DeAndre Swift is DeAndre Swift and never healthy either. And now David Montgomery goes to help DeAndre Swift, and it messes up two fantasy situations where now we have timeshares as opposed to 0. And now Khalil Herbert is the guy in Chicago, and that's a strong pick. If you have a guy that needs to stay healthy, but he averaged, I think it was 1.4 yards after contact last year, which was the most in the NFL. So he's
also you're going to have some help. You're going to have some wide receiver help to keep people out of the box.
Well, and we talked about that earlier about the draft picks that Chicago got, and they got a first this year, a first next year. I believe it was a second and a third. But the key is getting DJ Moore, right? I mean,
DJ Moore is a lower to mid-end number 1 receiver.
Yep. Top 15 wide receiver in the NFL.
Yeah. No, I mean, the question being with DJ Moore is, he got these stats never really with a great receiver, great quarterback.
Right.
And we're not sure still what Fields is as a quarterback.
But we do know that the pipeline from Charlotte to Chicago for wide receivers is not very good. And if you have any questions, you can ask Mohsin Muhammad, who did absolutely nothing in Chicago. So after a very big deal. Okay, Baker Mayfield goes to the Bucs. Okay, like a 1-year deal. Look, it's a pillow
prove it deal
right?
versus Kyle Trask.
Right. It's a pillow deal. They believe that they saw something from the Rams. They're not exactly sure what they have in Kyle Trask. Good deal by both the player and the coach and the team. Tampa Bay is going to be a garbage show next year. The Titans signed Arden Key, 3 years, $21 million. Again, pass rushers get paid, whether or not they are complete players. He had 4.5 sacks last year. David Montgomery, we went through. Caleb McGrady, one of the greatest lines, and I got to see who wrote this. This is by Seth Walder on ESPN. Hold on, let me get the quote back. It was fantastic. Here we go. First and foremost, the tackle's job is to protect the quarterback, and I struggle with the idea of paying big money for one who doesn't do that particularly well. I love that line.
Between him and Lindstrom, God, they spent
a lot of money.
180 million, 190 million.
Oh, well, no. McGarry only got 3 years and 34.
Oh, I thought he got like a 5-year 80.
No, he got 3 years and 34.
Lindstrom got 100 million, I think.
Yeah, 5 years and 100. Yep. I mean, it wasn't as bad. He's getting paid less than Mike McGlinchey. There's your huge contract to go
5
to
years,
Denver,
87. Well, Denver spent, I think, $200 million so far this offseason.
all to protect one Russell Wilson. Okay. Eagles get Bradbury back, 3 years and 38, and lose Darius Slay. I'm a big Darius Slay guy. They released him. I'm a big fan of his. Understanding, much like a Dory Jackson, that you protect the better guy rather than the worst guy. And there's only so much you can spend on corners, considering that Slay wants another contract. The big thing about Jalen Ramsey is he got more guaranteed money, but actually his contract this year is lower than what he was going to pay with the Rams. So he got more money in the future, but for this year his cap number is actually less, and he got less guaranteed money. So, okay, so we just got that. Okay, Jets signing Alan Lazard. We talked about that. It's Aaron Rodgers' world, and we're all living in it. That's the only thing I can say about that. We just talked about the Waller thing. Seattle losing Rashard Penny to the Eagles, and then Miles Sanders then going to the Panthers, and Deontay Foreman still being a free agent. Please, for the love of God, Joe Douglas, if you hear me, Deontay Foreman. I mean, seriously, if you want a back that can actually play and play well, last year he played extraordinarily well with those.
He was fantastic.
Yeah. And we don't say that just because he carried our fantasy team for like 4
considering we had like 7 injuries, so there wasn't carrying was relative.
So Draymond Jones, defensive tackle, again, goes to Seattle, 3 years, $51 million. You're seeing defensive tackles and defensive ends just get paid. They just are. You win with no matter. You can see. By the way, Frank Clark hasn't gone anywhere. I believe. Yep. I believe he's still out there. He was cut by Kansas City, but I understand that Pat Mahomes won with offense. I get that, but he's the exception to the rule. You got to have defensive players, and especially across the line. And that's why you're going to see tackles like Dexter Lawrence, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your guy is Dexter, not DeMarcus. Dexter Lawrence going to get paid the same way DeMarcus Lawrence got paid in Dallas. You're going to see this stuff happen. Okay. Texans trade for Shaq Mason. There's the offensive guard who went from New England to Tom Brady. He followed Tom Brady, and then Tom Brady left, so now the whole team's combustible. Leonard Fournette's still not signed either, by the way. Dalvin Tomlinson, again. 4 years, $57 million defensive tackle, gets paid.
Nice
Eric Kendricks gets paid.
Nice play.
Gets
All
paid.
Right, let's kind of sum this up. We have an NCAA tournament to talk about.
Oh, we do, yeah. Can we just talk about J.J. Starling coming to Syracuse, and then we don't have to worry about it?
Well, I guess we should.
Okay.
No, because the only people who care about that are actually right now nobody cares about that, unless you went to Syracuse.
I know. All right, so we do have an NCAA tournament, and to tell you the truth, I am kind of checked out on it. So I know you are not.
Well, I mean, look, I don't think we're going anywhere. So, I mean, that's not really it's not.
How far do you think you'll go?
Nowhere. I think we lose in the first round.
Wow. Okay.
I think it's an awful matchup for us. We're playing West Virginia.
Yep.
Since when is playing West Virginia ever a good matchup?
Oh, don't. I have West Virginia going to the Elite Eight.
You have them beating Alabama?
Yep.
Oh, you're that guy.
What do you mean I'm that guy? Hold on. What does that mean?
You're just going to pick crazy crap just for the sake of picking crazy crap.
I don't think so. I was just going to go into my picks. I don't think I have crazy crap. I'll tell you who I have for a Final Four.
Oh, well, let's go. Let's run through it quickly.
Okay.
Alabama over Texas over Texas A&M.
Yes.
Maryland, West Virginia. You have West Virginia.
Sure.
San Diego State, Charleston.
This is my 5-12 upset.
Virginia, Furman.
Virginia.
Creighton, NC State.
Wait, do you have Charleston as well?
Yes.
Okay. I have Creighton.
Baylor, UC Santa Barbara.
Baylor.
Missouri, Utah State.
Missouri, and then Arizona.
Okay. So you have West Virginia over Alabama.
We're going to the next round. West Virginia over Alabama.
Charleston or Virginia?
Virginia.
Creighton or Baylor?
Baylor.
Missouri or Arizona?
Missouri.
Okay.
You do not have Missouri.
No, I have Missouri losing to Utah State. So
Oh, well, okay. Then where are you on this?
Alabama over West Virginia, Charleston over Virginia, Creighton over Baylor, Arizona over Utah State.
Okay, so you're Elite Eight. Sorry, you're Elite Eight. I have West Virginia over Virginia, and Baylor over Missouri.
Okay. Wow. I don't think we have any of the same teams.
Isn't this great for the first year?
Alabama, I have Alabama over Charleston, Arizona over Creighton.
And then I have Baylor over West Virginia.
I'll take Alabama over Arizona.
Okay.
Let's go to the what do you call it? I guess it's Purdue.
Purdue.
I'll tell you something.
Bottom left.
If there is ever a 116 game,
There's been a 116 game.
I know that going in, I would find a really awkward fit.
Really?
Purdue cannot handle press.
What time is this game and when is it?
7:00 Friday night.
Okay. Well, I got something
Now,
to do.
To be fair, it's also the smallest team in the tournament against Zach Edey. So it may be relative, but I mean, look,
Right.
I don't have the balls to take Fairleigh Dickinson.
No,
but-
me neither. So I got Purdue. Then I got Florida Atlantic over Memphis.
Okay, me too.
I got Duke over Oral Roberts.
Yep.
Tennessee over Louisiana.
Yep.
Providence over Kentucky.
Yep.
Wow. We both picked the 6-11. Okay. Kansas State over Montana.
Mm-hmm.
USC over Michigan State.
I got Michigan State.
Marquette over Vermont.
Okay.
And I got Marquette over USC.
Okay.
You have Michigan State there, or you have Marquette?
I got Marquette.
Kansas State over Providence.
I'm going to take Providence.
Tennessee over Duke.
No, I got Duke.
And then Purdue over Florida Atlantic.
Okay.
Then I have Tennessee over Purdue.
Okay, I have Duke over Purdue.
Kansas State over Marquette.
Marquette over Providence.
And then I got Tennessee over Kansas State.
I really hate this region. I don't think anyone belongs here. I'm going to take Marquette over. I'm going to take Duke over Marquette.
So you're taking the 5. I got the 4. So whoever comes out of that one. Okay. Let's go over to the Houston bracket. By the way, are you surprised I actually filled out a bracket given the fact?
Yeah, a little confused, but because you never do.
Well, I never do in advance. This time I did. Okay, I got Houston over Northern Kentucky. Auburn over Iowa.
I have Iowa.
Miami over Drake. Indiana over Kent State. Pittsburgh over Iowa State. You haven't.
I don't know what Iowa State's doing as a 6. I really don't. I think this is the easiest run to the 16 right here. I have Pittsburgh over Iowa State as well.
Okay, Xavier over Kennesaw.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, Kennesaw is in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Penn State over
I'm glad to
Texas A&M.
I'm glad to see there's one competent basketball team in Georgia.
Yeah. Penn State over Texas A&M.
Yep.
And then Texas over Colgate.
Yep.
Texas over Penn State.
Yep.
Pittsburgh over Xavier.
I'll go Xavier.
Indiana over Miami. Miami almost lost to Syracuse twice.
I have Drake over Miami,
Oh.
but I go back and forth on both of them. I'll take Indiana.
I have Houston over Auburn.
Houston.
And then I have Houston over Indiana.
Yep, me too.
And I have Texas over Pittsburgh.
Yep,
And in the Battle of Texas, I have Houston over Texas.
I do as well.
Okay. Moving down to the bottom. Kansas over Howard.
Yep,
Illinois over Arkansas.
I got Arkansas.
VCU over St. Mary's.
Yep,
Connecticut over Iona.
I'm going to go Iona. What the hell?
TCU over whoever wins.
Yep,
Gonzaga over Grand Canyon.
yep. But yeah, Arizona State's winning by like 20. They're shooting like 93%.
Okay,
from the floor
but
right now.
they still got to make it in. So that's their
Neither of these teams should have been over.
They're going to shoot their shot
now.
now. They won't shoot their shot later.
Neither team belongs in the tournament, so it's fine.
Boise State over Northwestern.
I'll take Northwestern.
UCLA over at North Carolina Asheville.
Okay.
I have UCLA over Boise State. You have Northwestern.
Yep.
I have TCU over Gonzaga.
Really, really good second round game. I have Gonzaga.
Connecticut over VCU.
I'll take the Flying Patinos in his last run at Iona.
Because you think he's going where? To Georgetown?
St. John's.
Oh, okay. It's going to be one of the two, right? Either Georgetown or St. John's.
He wants to be. He can live at home if he's at St. John's.
That's true. Kansas over Illinois.
Yep.
Kansas over UConn.
Yep.
UCLA over TCU. You're taking Gonzaga. I know you are.
I actually, before the freshman got hurt, I would had UCLA winning the national title.
Yep.
So I'm going to go with Zaga.
And I had them winning the national title too, believe it or not.
Who's Zaga? Or
No,
UCLA?
I had UCLA winning the national title.
You still do?
No, I have them in the Final Four, though.
Yeah, I have Gonzaga in the Final Four.
So I have UCLA beating Kansas. And you have Gonzaga beating Kansas.
No, I have Gonzaga beating Alabama.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Wait. No, in that region.
Yes, I have Gonzaga. Yes.
Okay. So my Final Four teams are Tennessee, UCLA, Houston, and Baylor. And I have
a Tennessee, Baylor, a 4, a 3, a 2.
1 and a 2.
And I have 2 1s, a 3, and a 5.
And I am taking Houston to beat UCLA, Tennessee to beat Baylor, and then Houston to beat Tennessee in a game I probably will not watch.
Dude, you're a sports fan. You watch
I'll probably watch it.
All right. So I'm taking.
I have the 1 seed. Are they the overall 1 seed?
Who?
Houston?
No.
Okay.
Alabama is.
Okay, I feel better about that then.
I'm taking Gonzaga for the simple reason it's the 1 year nobody has any expectations from them, and they're playing really well. I would, if UCLA's freshman Jaden didn't get hurt, I probably would have UCLA in the national.
Yeah, I actually did have them until that was what I was doing. Anyway, so all right. So you said look at the Fairleigh Dickinson Purdue game at 7:00 on Friday. What other first round games should we be?
Well, I mean, for a 116, I think it's better.
Okay,
than
but what other like I look at Connecticut Iona as a game that I want to watch. It's a game that it's a 4-13. It's not something that you 4-13. Yeah, 4-13. Not a game that you would generally say, "Oh, I'm going to watch this game." But anytime Patino's in the tournament, you kind of have to say, "I'm going to watch this game just to see if he can put up a fight." And look, we both have. I know you have them winning that game. I do not, but you have them winning.
They're UConn. I can never root for them, and UConn's been on and off. So
I agree with that. So what other? I mean, I know you are not the godfather of college basketball anymore.
I'm not. I don't think anyone is.
But
I think Duke Oral Roberts is fun.
Yeah.
I think if you remember, Oral Roberts was this 14 seed that went to the Sweet 16 last year or 2 years ago. Abness, their star shooting guard, is still there. I think Texas A&M Penn State is a hell of a first round game. I think A&M is underseeded as a 7. Trying to think what else I like. I think Memphis FAU is a pretty good game. Kentucky Providence isn't a bad game. There's some decent games. It's a first round.
Look, I like Kentucky Providence because I don't think first of all, I don't think Kentucky's getting out of the first round.
Neither do I.
Right. And that's part of it. And this may be what gets Calipari out, right? He may just say, I'm done with this crap. Or more importantly, that the people of Kentucky are done with Calipari.
So then that would bring up the obvious question of who would replace him. I'm almost afraid to see what the answer would be.
Well, it's not Chris Beard. We know that.
No, I was thinking actually it may be Kevin Willard.
Oh, it won't be Billy Gillispie?
I am pretty sure it will not be Billy Gillispie. But think about it. Willard was the number 2 under Pitino, the father.
Oh no, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't think Willard's looking to leave.
But it's Kentucky.
If it's Kentucky, what are you going to do?
How do you not leave if it's Kentucky? I mean, unless your name is John Calipari and then you leave.
Well, and then the interesting thing is, where does he leave for? Does he go to Texas?
Oh, that's where I was thinking. Like,
but what if Texas makes the final? What if Texas
right.
makes the Final Four run?
Well, and that where do I have Texas at? Where do I have Texas out?
You have losing in the Final 8.
Yep. Would that be enough to keep the guy's job? I think it probably would, right?
I would think so. But then there's no job out there for Calipari. Really,
right. The only way that Calipari goes anywhere, I believe, is for Texas. I don't think there's another job, and certainly not in college basketball. I'm not sure if there's one in the. I don't think he goes to the pros.
I don't think he goes to the pros. He had a run at the pros. It didn't work. He's been gone too long.
Yeah, I think that's that. You know what we haven't talked about? Well, we talked about we talked about Boeheim getting canned last week. We did.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't talk about what happened 2 days later, where basically the university rolled it all back, right? And said this was planned. And Red Autry comes out and does his recruiting and gets JJ Starling. Look, it's nice, and I know we're in our last 5 minutes. So this is perfect timing. It is really nice it was really hard last week to see the university and Boeheim basically at war, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you always want your coach, and this is the only coach I've had, and I said this to many of people this week. He was a curmudgeon, but he was our curmudgeon.
Yep.
And he was just going to be that guy. And don't lose the fact that he had been in Syracuse for 60 years. Like it's insane to think about that he was at the same university and look, I wear this sweatshirt almost every week and I wear it proudly. And you wear your Maryland stuff proudly. And it's not because and it looked bad for my university the way that Boeheim went out. And I really enjoyed the fact that the university and Boeheim had their mea culpa on Friday. He'll be employed by the university and so on and so forth. And before I let go, you know what? Rest in peace to Bud Grant. My God, 95 years old. The best thing he had going for him, well, one of the best things he had going for him is that, and I take this from Peter King, is that he negotiated upon his release an office with a window in any stadium that they had. And at one point, I think it was the general manager or the owner of the Vikings tried to move him from his office, and he pulled out the contract and said, "Nope, here, I need a window." And I found that incredible. Look, for a 95-year-old guy or a 90-year-old guy at the time, I thought that was amazing. And for a guy that works in contracts every day, that made me laugh. And sometimes you just need to laugh. So rest in peace to Bud Grant, who the Wilfs, who own the Vikings, said nobody embodies the Vikings like Bud Grant. And I agree with that.
Yeah. Two, situations. One we know a little bit about, one we don't know much about. Ja Morant, I think, was suspended for 8 games.
Yep.
Based on, I don't really know exactly what. It seems like a combination of a couple things. And Andrew Wiggins, who's been out for 13 games, nobody knows why he's out. We know it's a personal issue. We don't know the specificities. The game is better with both of them here, so hopefully they get back. They get back soon.
Well, Ja is one of my favorite players to watch, so definitely. And
Hopefully
I got to tell you,
hopefully he'll be back.
Yeah, and we're coming up on the NBA playoffs, which we'll talk a little bit more about next week. But Sacramento Kings looking really good.
Looking like the 2 seed.
Yeah, they're looking really good in that spot. After almost 2 decades of not being in the playoffs, they're looking really, really good in that spot. And we'll talk more about how we can how that plays out next week. So for Seth Kamens, thank you all for joining such a late night. Congratulations to Seth for making it through March 15th. You still got April 15th to go.
Don't remind me.
One more month, my friend. One more month and a lot of NCAA tournament. So enjoy the show, everybody, and enjoy the tournament. We'll see you next week.